World leaders set to meet at the UN General Assembly in New York, ready to take on climate change, COVID vaccines, and nuclear weapons. President Biden among the first of the leaders to speak, as UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres is urging the U.S. and China to mend their frayed relationship, warning the mounting disagreements could spiral into a new Cold War. Joining us now, Director of NYU's Center on International Cooperation, Sarah Cliff. Sarah, thanks for being with us.
Glad to be with you.
Well, the daunting challenges are endless. Risks of climate breakdown, nuclear war, vaccine inequities, Afghanistan now under Taliban rule, all within a global pandemic. So what would a successful United Nations General Assembly look like to you?
Yeah, I think this is the question for everyone, Kira. We're going into this United Nations General Assembly with a world that's really facing several big disconnects. So you have, on the one hand, countries that have managed to vaccinate a lot of their population. Rich countries basically have 70% of their population vaccinated now. And on the other hand, countries that are struggling to vaccinate 2% or 3% or 8% of their population. You have a second disconnect in economic recovery. So the rich world has spent about a quarter of GDP, 25% of their national income, on stimulus programs, on protecting people. Middle-income countries have been able to spend only 7%, and low-income countries only 2%. So you'll hear, I think, a lot of world leaders talk about that disconnect. And last, you have the forgotten conflict-affected areas, some of which, of course, have been dominating our screens in the last weeks, such as Afghanistan, where there's a real pressure for the UN as the platform that is designed to look after peace and security to act. So I think success would look like practical action on those three areas. Action on vaccines. The US is hosting a vaccine summit on Wednesday morning, and people will be looking to see if that summit results in practical solutions. Action on economic recovery. The UN can't do everything, but it can lay the basis for the meetings of the IMF and the World Bank next month. And action on some of the most fragile country situations like Afghanistan.
And Sarah, I'd like to just take a look at the American moment here. Really, this is because the pandemic leader, President Biden's chance to step out onto the world stage in this forum. White House official gave some details on what he's going to say tomorrow. His remarks, they say, will, quote, center on the proposition that we are closing the chapter on 20 years of war and opening a chapter focused on personal, purposeful, effective, intensive American diplomacy. So, you know, a lot of world leaders might want to hear that, but they know that the American people now are capable of going back on that. They voted for President Trump once. There could be other more nationalist leaders like him in the future. What impact do you think President Biden can have on world opinion of this country post-Trump? And what else do you think you expect to hear him say?
So I think that there has been a lot of loss of confidence and disappointment around the world about how the exit from Afghanistan was planned and panned out, as well as a lack of a push with the new administration in the UN Security Council to deal with some of the other country situations like Haiti, which was in your segment just earlier today. So there are a lot of expectations on the US. I think that the US could really do with a good positive UNGA that shows that's UN General Assembly, that shows what it can contribute to the world. And in this way, the Biden administration has really made a good choice, that they've chosen to focus on vaccines. That's an area where the White House can use its leverage to get other countries to come to the table, to commit to more money, to commit to sharing doses, to commit to sharing knowledge, to make that gap, that huge disconnect in vaccination rates across the world, close in the next months. That would be a win, I think, for the US, but it would also be a big win for the rest of the world.
Director at NYU Center on International Cooperation, Sarah Cliff, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.